Darren, as a selector, how do you now approach these next two tests?
Same as we approached the previous three, make sure we're trying to win the game. Every test match for your country is important, so we've got to pick the right 11 to win the game, and we've got to see how the bowlers pull up from, obviously, this test match. I suppose with the weather, the way it happened, weather permitting, that they'll be reasonably fresh, so we'll just see how they go next couple of days, and then work out what our best 11 is from there.
What chance do you think Ryan Harris is of backing up? Because there's been people have been loath to sort of pick him back-to-back test matches.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think it's a reasonable chance now. We didn't bowl today. If we bowled today, I wouldn't think it'd be a chance at all. So, again, we'll just have to see how it pulls up tomorrow, the travel day, and then see how it goes at training, mate, to be perfectly honest.
And now you can't win the Ashes. Is it more of a time to look for the future in the summer? Does Jackson Bird then get an opportunity? Do some of the other guys get an opportunity?
I still think it's a test match, so you've got to pick your best 11. If Jackson's in that 11, then he's a chance to play. For us, you always got to look ahead, I suppose, now. But for us, the most important thing is actually backing that performance up again from the previous. The last 5 days we've been outstanding, putting under pressure, and we would have won the test match. So quite comfortable with that. For us, it's now backing that up again and actually finishing the game off.
Momentum changes quickly in all games, but in cricket certainly. Do you think it has changed in this series now?
Well, we're not going to lose 5-0, so that's a start.
Indeed,
a few of their players want us to lose 5-0, is that right?
50 at Lords, didn't they?
Yeah, they won. Yeah, they did. We played poorly, and we probably won by a similar amount.
Yeah. Well, do you think it has shifted?
I think it's shifted, but only time will tell that, won't it? How we play next week, we've got to back that up again. And consistency, they've been quite consistent, I suppose. We've got a younger group, and we need to be that consistent. If we do that, then we'll be fine.
I was going to ask that one actually.
Oh, I'm done. You're easy.
I've got another one after you.
Yeah, Darren, obviously England retaining the series is disappointing, but can you save the series from being a failure for you guys?
I think all the time, all you have to do is learn, and our blokes are learning. We've seen that over the last 5 days, and now again they've got to learn to repeat that in a back-to-back test match. So that's important for our group. We know that. We just had a good chat. We had obviously a few people come in and say a few words, which is great. They're learning from some really good people. Warnie was in there, and Michael had some great words to say to the players, and just about learning the game and keep that level head. Yes, we can't obviously get the Ashes now. What we've got to do is make sure we're best prepared for Durham to play the brand of cricket we did here, win the game, and then move to the Oval, and then move back home. You can't look too far ahead. Ashes is a long way away, the home series. All we can concentrate on is these next 2 test matches.
Darren, would you consider leaving Davey Warner at opener and moving Shane Watson down permanently?
We may do, yeah. But at the end of the day, that's the selectors getting together and making that decision. And we always consult the captain and what he thinks the best batting order is as well. So for us, we'll just make that decision once we see the wicket in Durham.
Darren, I imagine you'd have been disappointed you didn't get to see how Nathan Lyon sort of responded to, obviously a lot of responsibility would have fallen on his shoulders there today.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see him bowl, but obviously the weather, you can't control the weather. So I thought he bowled really well in patches in the first innings. Had some good shape, and obviously spun a lot in the last 2 days, so it would have been interesting to see how he went with the result there. I'm quite confident the way he was bowling that we would have got the wickets, but again, you don't know because we didn't finish the game.
Darren, before this test match, it was very obvious that it was the batting that had been letting you down. How confident are you now that that's behind you?
Well, we'll wait and see next week, I suppose, to be perfectly honest, but I'm happy the way they played. Obviously, making a big 100 helps. The first 2 test matches, obviously, Root got a big 100 and Bell's made a couple. But we've showed some cracks in their batting, which is exciting for us as a bowling unit. I think we've bowled really well, to be fair. They made big runs in the second innings of Lords, but that was because our batting was disappointing. We didn't make enough runs. So what we have to do is, as we know, and I'm sure Alistair said the same, make sure you're making their bowlers bowl a lot of overs, and we saw what happens when their bowlers bowl a lot of overs, and that's what we need to do again.
Darren, Shane Watson, he's played a lot of cricket now. He's played 44 tests. He's only made 200s and he's averaging 34. How are you still seeing him as a top 6 batsman?
Well, he bowls a lot and he's a pretty good bowler, I would have thought. So as an all-rounder, I've got no dramas. Whether he makes an opener, only time will tell. Whether he opens next test match, time will tell.
But in the top six, do you see him as being a genuine batsman who can bat top six, because he doesn't seem to have the numbers to back that up?
What I do see is when you can play an extra bowler in your top six, it's such an advantage when you've only got 4 bowlers and they've got to keep bowling. It makes it pretty hard. So as an all-rounder, no dramas.
A bit of a double question, Darren. Now that you know that you can't retain the Ashes, I mean, you came into the jobs, quite short notice. What have you learnt about being a coach at the highest level, and what have you learnt about England as well?
Well, there's a lot more press at these ones than state cricket, which is fine. I learnt a lot about England, which is great, and what we're doing is on the right path. So I'm quite confident where we're going, and you're learning about players, so they get the chance to shine over the next 2 test matches, and we want to win them. We're playing for our country and against England and the arch enemy, and it's going to be a great battle in Durham, I'm sure, and they'll want to prove a point that that they had an off game. We want to prove a point that we're here to play, and I think we've done that. All bar a couple of sessions at Lord's, so it's going to be a good game.
Okay, so do you feel now that obviously almost one challenge you can't achieve, do you start building a bit more long term now from your own point of view, more towards the future?
I think I answered that before, to be perfectly honest. Every game you play for your country, you've got to pick the best 11 to win, whoever it's against. So that's what we'll be doing.
Darren, was Shane's form the reason why he didn't open in that second innings, given his attributes, I suppose, would seem to be suited to coming out and scoring quickly?
No, the reason we just swapped around was Davey Warner, obviously, to really have a go. And Watson to tackle Swan. Pretty simple. You would know that anyway. Why'd you ask that question? You should know the answer.
So would you keep doing that?
Huh?
Will you keep doing that?
Might do, mate. Yeah, we'll just wait and see, to be perfectly honest. Again, we'll have a look at the wicket and see how it shapes up from there. Yeah, there's all options now.
Because it looks better with the top 3 left-handers, the 3 left-handers at the top away from Swan, and then your right-handers. So
Yeah, there's a lot of things that look good. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
doing a lot of waiting, aren't we?
I know, I do apologise for that. Normally we're pretty good with our sides. I do apologise to the press for that.
Well, regardless of whether Watson's up or down or whatever, is the next. Given that the batting order has changed so much from test to test, is it desirable to just have them top 6 locked in for the next 2? So people aren't having to change.
Yes and no. We will certainly look at that option in Australia, but at the moment we've got to find the best 6 in the best order. That's what we're going to do.
Darren, presumably when you're talking about the cracks that we've seen in the England batting lineup, which are exciting, you're talking about Cook, Trott and Bairstow with 3 who haven't got runs. I mean, do you feel that you can really make some sort of psychological impact on those guys if you can keep them without runs over the next couple of tests?
It'd be nice to. It means we're closer to winning a test match. So, but there's other players we've seen, and it's been great to have a look at them close hand and where they've been going and what they're doing and how they're playing. Not just those 3. So, I have some great ideas about the other 8 batters, which is good.
Dan, David Warner, when he was batting, seemed to have a big smile on his face, and he even had fun in the press conference after the day's play. Do you think seemed like he's bounced back from his earlier troubles?
Oh, look, he's gone through a difficult time. There's no doubt about that. But I thought he played really well in the second innings. We know he's going to cop a little bit with the English crowds, and that's just part and parcel of what happens. So for him, we'd love him to make some big runs, and that's what he's in the top 6 to do.
Was this test match a real test of character for Australia, and how do you think they came out of it coming up to Lord's?
After Lord's, real test of character, yeah, and passed with flying colours, I would think. I think you'd all agree with that. I think we dominated the game, which is great. We just got to repeat that again, Darren.
Darren, Trent Bridge, James Anderson, 10 wickets, and you guys obviously went away and thought about how to negate him. Since then, he's only had 5, and a lot more expensively than he did in Nottingham. I mean, do you feel you've got the measure of him now, or what was your intention here, just to get a lot of overs into him as well?
I think, as you see, the more overs you bowl, they're obviously going to get less wickets, full stop. So we've played him better than we did at Nottingham. He bowled quite well there. He's a great bowler. There's no doubt about that. So, we've had our plans, and maybe we haven't executed them better, well enough. I would say for that. So we certainly did that here, and he bowled a lot of overs.
Last question. Gero broached the subject of DRS. Pieces in there clearly nicked the ball, but there was no hotspot whatsoever. So hotspot isn't reliable, is it?
Sorry, who nicked the ball?
Peterson.
There was a few others in the game, was
there?
DRS. I thought I was going to get through with DRS for the whole conference. Look, I like the technology. We just got to get it the best we possibly can, and moving forward, I'm sure they'll go down that path. End of the day, umpires make the call, and we'll trust the call. That's all we can do.